guys, I did a video on this exact same topic before on this channel. It might not be exactly the same, but it's similar. And I just want to touch up on this video. So, if you ever are involved with a narcissistic person and things happen, which they always do if you are involved with one of these types of people, right? The best thing to do whenever you get screwed over is to let that fuel you to the point where you're not seeking revenge on this person and you're not going out of your way to do something significant to damage their life, but rather you use all that negativity and you turn that into positive fuel to further ahead your life. And you're not doing this for them, you're doing this for yourself. You're doing this because the reason you got screwed over in the first place by one of these individuals is because you were probably pretty low to begin with. And any time I have ever got done wrong by one of these types of people, I was at my lower moments. I wasn't my higher self. And any time I was my higher self, or even close to it, I was not involved with these people whatsoever. And if you are forced to be surrounded by them, they can actually take you from your higher self and turn you into something that you're not. And they can affect your life drastically, which makes them eat you alive more and more and more, because they want you at that lower state. They want you at that lower vibration where they can control you. They don't want you at your higher self. And the messed up thing is in narcissistic relationships, what a lot of these fools do not understand is that they take their partners and slowly diminish them into like a fraction of what they used to be. So that they're deluded to thinking that they are the best, and what they do to their partners does not even exist. But little do they know, they are the problem, and they never want to fix it. So they go from person to person to person, never actually fixing themselves. And there's something about it that just inside of me, like it's like this breath. I can't even explain it. Just to think about these individuals and how toxic they are. It's ridiculous. Like, before any of this existed, life was so much clearer. Which you can make it like that to this day. You just have to get away from them. The most I ever think or talk about this stuff is in these videos only. Like, I surpassed all this stuff, guys. I'm not sitting here in front of the camera going through this stuff to this day. I'm trying to teach you guys and tell you guys the best ways and the best information on how to get yourself out of these situations. And just to keep a lot of you guys on track as well, so you don't fold and go back into it, because you can have weak moments like everybody does. And in those moments is where you could slip up. And then again, end up back with a narc, which is only going to suck you down further and further and further, and you don't even know what's happening because it's happening. And it's happening slowly, but surely it is happening. And the best revenge, the best thing you can do is, like I said, use all that fuel. Like, especially if you were in that and then you got discarded, because that is the lowest you will ever feel. They will take you down there and then discard you because you are no longer useful to them. They see you as nothing because they probably used you right up until that point, and now they can no longer have any use for you. They just can't get enough fuel out of you. They're not there to be fair game. because they are useless. They leech onto you because you actually had something. If you were involved with a narc, you were higher than they were. And you were better than they were. And sometimes these individuals will leave you because they don't want you catching on to who they are, because they know that you know how little of value that they have. Some of these people are embarrassed, and they don't want that to get out there. They don't want you to know who they really are. And that is why things like this happen. Some of them are very, very sneaky. You have to be careful, because these people are everywhere. It's just like they just can't be enough. They cannot keep it together. They just always fold. They always do something that is just extra in a bad way. And they're very predictable, especially whenever you are your higher self, whenever you are feeling good and you are clear-headed. They become very, very predictable. And you're not going to get caught if you are in that position. So me now, I have the choice of where I want to go, when I want to go. I have so many choices. I don't have to be around people I don't want to be around, and this definitely helps. Whenever you're young, you don't have a choice like that. Whenever you're young, you're forced to be certain places. You're forced to be around certain people. So your vibe, your energy, things can get messed up. You will get messed up. And once you grow up, you start to become a young adult. Then you start to develop into a full-grown adult. I don't care what anybody says. Whenever you were 19, 20, 21, you were still a kid. I was a kid not too long ago. It's when you get 22, 23, 24, 25, and you start to become like a full-grown adult. Even between 25 and 30, you're still like in your peak. You're still young. Like very young. And still learning, still growing. Even after that, of course. But for people to think you turn 19, 20, I'm an adult now. Not really. Not really. You might be grown for your height and things like this, but your brain is still so young. You still have so much more to actually like experience in the real world. Because school does not matter. None of that stuff matters. It's like a fake life until you get into the real world. The real world is the real world. The real world is the only thing that matters. School is like a tool you can use so you can make money. So you can go to school, then go to university, pass, get a job, do what you do. Then once you get that job, it's like the real world stuff starts right then and there. Because now you're making your money. Now you're fending on your own. You're doing things on your own. You're paying for your own stuff. You're living by yourself. You're living with somebody else. You're not going to be with your parents. Things like this. But when you're in that school experience, you're still like trapped into that, like into society, into what they like put you into. You are not yourself. And you don't know what's coming until you get into the real world and start to live like that. And this is what I've done at such a young age, because I did not take that school route. I took a very different route to where like I started my life. I'm experiencing things, I'm trying things, which is why I got so mature at such a young age. And it's why a lot of people are still at the age that I'm at right now, and they still have this like high school mentality mindset, because they still didn't grow up. Like I was ahead of these people when I was 18. There's not even a question about it. And I still wasn't doing all the right things at that age, but I was still ahead of them. And they're still 23, 24, 25 right now, 26. I was still more mature at that age than they are now. Can you imagine now, me at 25? I'm light years ahead of who I was at 18. That's where I'm at. And it's the best thing you can do with your life is invest into yourself, invest into your health, and do all the right things that you're supposed to do. Stay on point, stay sharp. And it doesn't mean it's an easy road. These things are difficult to do on its own, on top of everything else that you have to do. But it is worth it, and you're definitely not gonna regret feeling on point when you get into your later 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and you feel sharp, you feel on point, you feel healthy, rather than you took a stupid way of life and a stupid route, and you did stupid things, and now everything is messed up. Your health is messed up. A lot of things are messed up, and you are clueless, and your mindset sucks, and you have so many regrets because you didn't do things at the time when you should have. So the best thing you can do is use any bit of fuel you can possible. Any bit of negativity, because I use all negativity to my advantage. I wasn't born rich. I wasn't fortunate enough to be born rich, or to be born with wealthy parents that like easily handed me a life. And some people are. So you can even use that as motivation. It's got to come from you. It's got to. If you weren't given these things, if you weren't given, and it's not even about like, it's not even just about money. It's just like about being on point. It's about being on point, being sharp, being who you are, being who you were supposed to be. And you got to use every bit of negativity and things that didn't go your way to your advantage. Use that. Let that fuel you, because anything that did not happen for me that I wanted to happen, I use all that as motivation. I use all that as fuel. And even when I'm tired, I'm still going. Whenever I'm losing my mind sometimes, I'm still going. It doesn't matter how I feel. I feel like it's like my mind is stronger than my body, and my body is stronger than my mind. In a crazy way that sounds, but like when it comes to physical stuff, my mind could be telling me this is crazy and I'm still doing it. And vice versa when it comes to the mind and the body. My mind can be doing so much stuff for me, and it's just like boggled. My mental and emotional is just suffering because I'm doing too much with it. And my body's telling me like, bro, like you gotta take some rest. And I'm still going, and I'm still going, and I'm still going. I could be emotional and I'm still going, and I'm still going. And I just have fight in me. And you guys have to bring that up out of you, because we all have fight in us. You just got to bring it up out of you and use anything that is not going your way to your advantage. Use that darkness, because it is darkness. Use that fuel. Let that put a chip on your shoulder. Don't treat people bad. Just let that let that put you on that straight line, and you do what you do. And don't let anybody tell you different. You know who you are. You know who you are. And you know what you want to do. And you know where you should be. And you know the things you should have. So get everything that you deserve, that you know you deserve. There's things that you do not have right now. There's things that I do not have right now, that I know I deserve, that I don't have. Same as you guys. We got to get it. And we got to use things to our advantage, and all the negativity, and use that as fuel. So even whenever you get screwed over in a situation, you use that as fuel. I've been getting screwed over in situations from a very, very young age. when it came to a lot of things. And I mean very young. I don't mean just like to the point where I'm starting to get into relationships. I mean like as a young kid, very young. Things not going my way, like with family, with friends, like things like this. Abandonment. And things that just hit home. And there's nothing that I personally can't take. I can take all that stuff and keep going. But there's some things that it does to you where it just like, especially when you get used or something like this, you use that to your advantage. You use that fuel to fuel your fire. And do not ever look back. And for the people that do you wrong, you do not help these people. You surpass them. And that is what you do. You don't seek revenge. You just go to work. And everything will take place. Everything's going to be the way it's going to be whenever you do that. And that is the best revenge on narcissistic people, people that do not treat you fairly. We don't get them back. We don't hit them. We don't hurt them. We don't go out of our way to make their lives more miserable like they did to us, because that's what they did. They went out of their way to come into our life for a purpose, to do something dirty to us so they could get a short-term win, however they did it. If they stole, if they got into a relationship with you to use you for your emotional well-being and stole that from you. It's all stealing at the end of the day, the things that they do. It's like thieves in the night. And when these things happen, you use that as motivation. And you reduce the amount of times that this happens to you. Because something can always happen. But it's not going to happen as often whenever you go through these things so many times. Eventually you're going to catch the snakes. And you will end up on top. Because God sees everything and God rewards those who deserve to be rewarded. Keep doing right. I have a chip on my shoulder every single day. You guys might not see it. A lot of people might not see it. Some people do. I've been told by people before, oh boy, you have a chip on your shoulder. Yes, I do. And I'm not taking it out on you. I'm not doing nothing to you. You just can probably see it in my attitude, and that's okay. Because I ain't hurting anybody. I ain't taking things out on other people. I ain't being a mess. This has to do with me. It has nothing to do with you. And I don't even mind that you pointed that out. Because I know you're right. And I'm not going to deny that. I do have a chip on my shoulder. As I should. Why shouldn't I? Should I just let my guard down to let people like you do whatever you want to me? I think not. Because you know who's the boss here? It's me. And you are not my boss, because I am my boss. And that's how you handle that situation. Nobody is the boss over you. Nobody tells you what to do. You are your own boss. Stay humble and be your own boss. Keep learning, keep growing, and be who you are. And that is the best revenge. So, I'm going to cut this video short. And I have another video to do, so we'll get to that one next. I'll be back.